Marketer of the Day, episode 601. Mini offers, market research, quitting your job, and building your funnel with Michelle Evans.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We're chatting with Michelle Evans, who you can find at michellelevans.com. And she has a weekly podcast called The Marketing Funnel Show. And Michelle walked away from her global marketing strategy role at Microsoft in 2012 after a successful 16-year corporate career. And basically, she's worked with coaches, consultants, experts, speakers, authors, and solopreneurs, and she helps them go from simply surviving to being predictably sold out. And Michelle has been featured all over the place, Mirasee, Huffington Post, Marketing Made Easy, and she's worked with household names like Microsoft, LinkedIn, and others as a well-paid employee and as a consultant. And Michelle is going to be talking to us about our marketing funnels, about Facebook ad changes, about transitioning from a six-figure job to starting your own business, and how to juggle it all, get it all done with all the craziness of what we have going on, whether we're parents, we have other commitments, whatever's going on, we can always make the time for it. So going to have a lot of fun. Michelle, how the heck are you?
I am great. Thanks so much for having me on, Robert.
Super glad to have you. So what has been your focus, say, the last 30, 60, 90 days?
Funnels, always funnels. Funnels that can catch Facebook ads or catch any other lead generation activities. But I love funnels so much because it just, it helps me and it helps my clients and my students figure out how to have an engine on the back end that can catch all the hard work we do and help turn them into clients, customers, sales.
And I think we all want that, right? It seems like far too many people out there are working way too hard. They're reading all the stuff. They're taking all the courses. They're writing the blog posts. They're on Facebook 6 hours a day. They're vlogging. They're live streaming. And they're like, I'm not getting any traction. So they need to have a funnel. They need to have, a place for people to put in their email address, to hop on the Facebook bot, to get retargeted with the pixel. But it seems like when this whole term funnel comes up, it seems really overwhelming, right? Because it's not just one thing, it's like 50 different things. So if someone says, okay, a funnel, I've heard of it, but I'm overwhelmed, or I've had difficulties, or it sounds like a lot of work, a lot of money, what would you say to someone like that?
Yeah, so I felt the same way. I actually created my very first funnel out of desperation, Robert. I had joined this mastermind with a multi-7-figure-a-year coach. And this coach is super successful herself, but she was trying to make everybody in the mastermind basically into mini hers. And how she built her business was run around speaking and selling from stages and then just selling at events. And basically she just is a killer salesperson. Robert, that's not me. I tried to follow her formula, and for 9 months, I did not make a single sale. Thank God I had some clients already, but I didn't make a single sale after going to more than 50 events and spending a ton of time and money. And I was like, I'm going to go out of business if I don't figure this out. And, I was like, what do I need? I need leads. And I need a way to turn those leads into sales. And I had done over 1,000 sales calls with people. So when I say that I'm not great at sales, I'm not even joking. And as I was going through and doing all of these sales calls that all ended in a no, I started really listening to what people were saying. And what they were saying is basically, I get that you're in marketing. I get that you know digital marketing. I don't understand what problem you could solve for me. Now, they didn't say those words out loud, but that's the gist of the no, right?
Right.
And I was like, okay, I've got to have a way to focus the impact and the results that I can get for people. And so, my first funnel, and if any of your listeners just need to get people on the phone who are primed and ready for an offer, my first funnel, I just rolled out, I created a quick PDF that was probably took me an hour to do in Word. And and it would just focus the conversation on what a funnel could do for you. It was like a six checklist thing of what a funnel could do for you. And it opened this pane of how do you get started? And I said, hey, if you want to learn how to, or if you want me to design one of these for you for free, click this link and jump on the phone with me. I sent that email out 3 times to my list, in different ways. And within 3 weeks, I was sold out.
Awesome.
And, I had a few emails, and clearly I had like 26 sales calls, but I went from 1,000 or more sales calls with 0 results to 26 calls and being sold out. And when I say sold out, like I think that I booked 12 new clients that were each paying about $2,000 a month. So suddenly I had this huge income stream from really pretty simple efforts. And that's the beauty of a funnel, is that it's not really about being overwhelming and super techy. Like, you can definitely add on to it, but how I see a funnel is really, it's this engine that drives your business. And the part that really makes it work is understanding the problem that you solve and the results that your audience wants, and however you specifically show up and help with that. If you know those 3 things, you can create a really simple funnel really effectively, and then you can add all the other things on top.
That is very reassuring that maybe those fancy funnels where there's 50 steps and all like the quizzes and the extra, ads and all that, we all see that, but that's maybe as a result of all the icing on the cake, all the bells and whistles they added on later on to further refine it. But we shouldn't let that discourage us. We need to just make something really simple. And I like how you laid that out, how you just said you didn't do a bunch of steps. You said, here's this PDF, and then in that PDF, you only spend an hour making it. It's here's what a funnel can do for you. Here's this 6-step checklist. And if you wanted to go out, you could take this checklist and figure it all out yourself, but I'm your funnel person, so why not just hop on the phone with me? And so now they're already educated quite a bit as far as what you can do, so you don't have to explain to them what a funnel is. You don't have to try to, force this thing to fit with their business. They're already a heck of a lot qualified, so instead of you having to make all those 1,000 calls, you just make a handful and then sell them into that coaching where you explain the problem that you solve. You said that's number 1. Number 2, lay out those results that they want. And then number 3, explain how you can bridge that gap, how you can help there.
Exactly. How I can get them those results faster and a lot more stress-free than trying to figure it out on their own.
So what's your process as far as like figuring out the problem and the results part of thing? Because it's easy to say, well, I'll make the solution that I myself would have liked, or it's easy to say, well, I'll just keep on looking at the Facebook groups or keep on paying attention to, what people ask of me. But what's your process, or what's your way of thinking as far as saying, well, how do I get the problem and the solution dialed in? And like, how do I stand out? How do I make sure that it gets people excited?
Yeah, that's a good question. And that's a thing that a lot of people struggle with, especially when you're trying to launch something new. So if you have a new service or a new product or a new program, sometimes it can be really hard. You're like, I know this thing is going to really help people, but I need to know, like, what's the path to get them to believe that it's going to help them, right?
Yeah.
So I've done a few different things. So one thing that I did, last year, I created this course called Build Your Funnel Bootcamp. And going into building that course, I didn't want to spend a lot of time and energy building something that nobody wanted. I've done that before. Back in 2013, I launched something that I created that I thought was awesome, and I couldn't even give it away. Like, it just was not grounded in a pain that people wanted to solve. And so I did not want to do that again. So this time I rolled out what I call mini offers. So a mini offer for me is something that takes me 2 hours or less to do, start to finish. and that will cost $200 or less for people. And many of my mini offers are like the $17 to $47 range, because all I'm trying to do is see, will people pay for this? And what's their big question after they consume it? And so basically, I was just testing out little pieces of the course that I wanted to create and the bonuses that I wanted to throw in to see what was valuable and what wasn't. And the way that I came up with that, like, I knew the content that I wanted to create, but I needed to understand kind of where people's hangups were. And so I did go into Facebook groups and take a look at, what people were asking and comments people were making. But I was specifically looking for, what is a piece of this? What is a question that I could quickly and easily solve in 2 hours or less and for $200 or less? And Robert, I just rolled out a few of those. I rolled out, I think, like 8 different mini offers. And 3 of them did not work at all. So I was like, okay, cool, those are out. But 5 of them worked really well, like really, really well. And then from that, I always, on the back end, I would offer people an hour-long call. 30 minutes was for anything they wanted to ask me about related to that mini offer. And then 30 minutes was for me to ask them some specific market research questions. Questions like, what was it like before you? So one of my mini offers, just for example, so we're not just talking in general terms, was a video review of a Facebook ad, of an email series, of their opt-in page and their sales page. So basically, like their funnel, right?
Right.
And so I could do those video reviews fairly quickly. And people got massive insights from them, like huge ahas. But for me, like, these are just things that stand out. Like, you might want to tweak this, whatever. And people would get on the phone and they would have great questions for me. And I would record those. And I would go back later and I'd transcribe all those questions, because those are all pain points. Those are all things that I need to help people understand either in my course or in my marketing leading up to buying my course. And then I would ask some really great questions like, what was it like before this? What was it like trying to figure this out on your own? What was it like, to put this out there and to have it not work? Like, what questions did you have? What were the thoughts going through your head? And then I would say, and now that you have these ahas, like, what's different? What's different in your business? What's different about what you're going to do? And I cannot even tell you the fabulous marketing words that would come out of these people's mouths. And so I didn't have to worry about what to put into my marketing funnel or into my course or on my sales page, because they were telling me what to do. And the beautiful thing is, I tried doing this for free. Like, I would just give free offers, like 10 free offers. The insights that I got from people who took me up on free things were nothing compared to the people who even spent as little as $17. It's like, if there's something about putting some money down, putting some skin in the game that gives people, like, it shifts their mindset. And so when they show up to these calls, they ask really great questions and they give really great feedback. And so mini offers are one of my favorite ways to do this. And then you can make money while you're doing the market research that, you could stockpile for Facebook ads or for whatever.
Dang. I mean, that is a lot to chew on. And I love that concept of you're putting out these mini offers. That way you can test the marketplace, right? That way you're not spending all this time creating this huge high ticket course. And like, nothing wrong with making a high ticket course, but who wants to waste months and months adding in all these bonuses and all the fancy marketing materials and all this big, huge launch, and then to wonder, well, did that big launch flop because of the price point, or was it missing the mark, or was there some way I could have done better? So I love this concept, how before doing the high ticket course, you can start off with the mini offer, so that way people can vote with their wallets. And I mean, you're totally right that sometimes we put things out there for free and then people don't even want it, or people don't even like, we're like, well, geez, I gave away like everything in this freebie. And then it's like, people aren't even taking me up on that call. But then when you put out those low ticket items, it's like, it's night and day, even if it's a little bit of money, even if it's $7, $17, like that difference between the free and just some amount of money is huge. And it's like, who knows if it's just like the micro commitment sort of thing where because they put in some money, now they're more willing to follow through, or who knows if it's that whole like Ben Franklin effect thing where when people give you money, now they like you more just because they gave you money, or just like some combination of all that. But I really like that, how you put out the low ticket stuff, and then you lead to the 1 hour call where you spend 30 minutes of you asking about them, and then 30 minutes of them asking about you. So then now it's not just them dumping a lot of stuff on you. Then it turns into, well, now that you've explained your problems, now that you've explained what you want, now how can it turn into how things can move on to the next level? And then what's really great there, what you said, is that you then transcribe it, and then you get those answers to what was it like before this, or now what's different now that you have this. So now you kind of have that marketing language, right? Now you can mirror their keywords back to them, and that's like one of the weirdest out of all the weird things on the internet and all the weird things in marketing. I think that's the weirdest thing, right? Just that, so like in whatever niche or whatever topic or solution you have, like people get stuck on certain keywords. Like I put out a time management course years ago, and for some reason everyone used the term overwhelm. Not any of the other millions of terms they could have used, but the exact term overwhelm. Or like I put out a membership course a bunch of years ago, and everyone was fixated on the term drip content. And if I explained drip content, but in a different phrase, they didn't care. But if I just like used that one keyword where they had the familiarity, where they could identify with that problem, then that's huge. Just as huge as letting people vote with their wallets, right? Because we might have that harebrained idea, or people might say, oh, sure, I'd love to buy this, but then you make the product, they don't actually buy it. Like it makes a lot of sense once you look at that in hindsight. And like, I don't know about you, but I used to really second guess myself with the low ticket stuff. Because a lot of people would say, oh, why are you only selling that for $50 or $100? Why don't you have a big $2,000 course like me? But what I'm hearing from you is that it's all part of a plan, right? You're not living in low ticket land. You're just getting paid that little bit of money up front. But there is a bigger picture, which is to then do that high ticket recurring coaching program, or do the high ticket course, right?
Well, for sure. So there's two things there. So number one, when I'm doing market research, I learned my lesson. Don't do market research on free stuff. If people don't have to whip out their wallet and even give you a tiny amount of money, you really need to really need to question the feedback that they give you, because they haven't put any skin in the game. And it's just a really different mindset. Like you said, even if they're only paying $7, $17, $47, it's a small amount of money, but the shift in the ownership that they take on whatever it is that you're offering is tremendously different than if they just get something for free and kind of glance at the PDF or whatever, don't even watch the videos. So there's that. But number two, back to your question about making funnels really complicated when we first started talking, one of my favorite funnel strategies, especially if people are still trying to figure out like what's the thing that they're trying to sell, is or they're trying to do a lot of ads and don't want to have to, go into huge debt for that, is a cash infusion funnel, where basically you have a little freebie and then you have a little offer on the back end of that freebie as a bump. And, if you do that, I have one that's been running. It was one of my mini offers, and it worked so well that I just kept it going, where basically people can sign up to get a podcast pitch sheet to pitch themselves to be a guest on podcast. And after they sign up for that, it says, hey, that's great. You have the pitch sheet. It'll be in your inbox in 5 minutes. In the meantime, would you like a list of 200 podcasts with the contact information and info to get onto it? If so, it's $47. You want to buy it? And it works all the time. And that can just fund more ads, right? I don't care if it makes money so much as I care that I have money constantly replenishing to be able to continue to market myself. And, if I were to build like a podcast course, it could just go on the back end of that even. And so that's the beautiful thing about funnels is that you can just like Legos, you just build them on.
Yeah, I love that. There's two really amazing things in there in that one, that even just having something in their low ticket is always that great way to train your list to become buyers, right?
Yep.
It's like the stereotype, or at least the stereotype a few years ago, was to build this big, huge free list. And then maybe 2 years later, once you finally get your high ticket course out there, then you mail and blast the list. And maybe if you're lucky, a few handful of people will buy that big ticket course. But why put all that pressure on yourself, right? Why make it all or nothing? Why not have them come and get that freebie, and then while you're waiting for that freebie to come in the mail, why not get this kind of extra complimentary thing? Like you often get this free podcast pitch sheet. Why not buy this directory of these podcast shows that you can then look into, and you can use that podcast pitch sheet to complement that? So there's that whole like getting your list trained early to buy from you, instead of waiting until they've gone cold or they've already found the solution. And then now I'm trying to sell them something 2 years late. So that's really cool. And then number two, it's an important reminder to always have some kind of an upsell, right? Because what's the harm in that? And okay, you signed up for this. Now here's something to buy. And I think that, I know that I'm guilty of this many times, but I think that the majority of us are guilty of this, of having that opt-in page and then leaving it as something just generic, right? Like, oh, go and opt in and confirm your subscription. Why not give someone that extra offer, that extra upsell? All it takes is adding the link, adding the little blurb of text, or adding the quick video. It only takes a few minutes. Why not do it?
And it makes a ginormous difference, because here's the thing. So, Robert, back in 2013, I was all into guest blogging. You probably were too, right? Everybody was guest blogging in those days. And I landed this great guest blog on Brazen Careerist. And I had a PDF download, 5 ways to make your LinkedIn profile rock, even if you're not looking for a job. And it was really aimed at people who kind of wanted to start their own side gig. And I had thousands of people come download that thing, thousands. And basically I did just what you said. I said, okay, here's your PDF, confirm your subscription. Thanks so much. And what happens when you do that, and it's nothing that people are doing wrong, it's what a lot of people have taught. But what happens is it's kind of like dropping somebody off a cliff. Like, you got them all excited, you did all this work to get them excited about whatever your thing is. They come and they get your thing. At that point, they are really engaged in continuing this kind of discovery process. And so the best thing you can do is to hook into their curiosity. And even you could have a small offer, or you could, I don't know, have a webinar, or have a challenge, or have a Facebook group, or, there's like a bajillion things that you could do. But you just keep that conversation going, so that it's not just like, here's your thing, fall off the cliff, right? You want to build that bridge to get them to the other side, so that eventually you can sell your thing. But also, back to the comment that you made about, build a huge list, which is what, a lot of people have taught out there. Build a huge list and then eventually launch your thing. The thing is that that's the number one reason people go out of business, is that they don't have enough cash flow. And there is nobody knows if you have 100 people on your list or 100,000 people on your list, but they know that they have a problem, and you know that you can solve it. So just start those conversations regardless of how big your audience is. Just start solving problems for people. That's what they'll pay for.
Awesome. You got to start somewhere, right? And it's no fun to be caught in chicken and egg land of saying, well, I can't have my offer because I don't have a list, and then I can't build a list because I don't have an offer. It's like start somewhere, and you're saying have that mindset of there's a problem, I have a solution for you, and just start somewhere, because no one knows if your list is 400,000 subscribers or 4 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And then also what I'm hearing from you as far as keep the conversation going and having those freebies and having those links is it's just maybe revisit things every now and then and make sure that you have your bases covered, right? And I mean, I think that we can all go and just take another pass through all of our funnels or all through what we're doing to build our list. And we probably forgot to maybe link to our Facebook group, or maybe we forgot, like I've gotten some of these freebie PDFs before and the PDF just sort of ended. And I was like, wait, I thought that the whole point of you giving this thing away for free was to link me to a course, or I've opted into freebies before and then never gotten another email. Or maybe I got one, but maybe if I'd gotten another one in a week or a month, or set me up for a call or something, that would only have taken a couple of minutes for someone just to go through, make another pass, and add to it. And something that comes to mind from a bunch of years ago was I was selling a low ticket plugin, and after they bought, there was a sort of slightly higher ticket plugin, and so they bought. There was an upsell page after they bought, and then when they said no thank you, it just dropped them onto the thank you page. And then I thought, well, here's a crazy idea. If they bought the low ticket thing, said no to the upsell, and then on the thank you page I said, just in case you still want it, here it is. And there was like a huge number of people who came in after that who went and bought it afterwards. And literally I'd see the orders come in and I was like, so they bought on the thank you page, but they still bought like 60 seconds later. So it wasn't a matter of they had to think about it. It was just like, they were like, no, like, let me just get to my download first. Okay, I got my download. All right, now I'll buy this other thing. And all I had to do was add an extra link to make the extra money. So it seems like a lot of us are just maybe one link away from making this whole thing work. We just have to look at things and say, oh yeah, I made a silly mistake. I forgot to link on my thank you page to this quick offer. I forgot to send the follow-up email. We can just get that one extra link in place. And we're kind of starting to go a little bit over time here, but I want to make sure that we cover what advice you have for people that are quitting their 9-to-5 job and all the kind of psychological baggage that comes with that, plus how to make all this time management stuff work with all of our other commitments. So, I mean, what do you have to say about all that?
Yeah, well, I started my business in August of 2011 when I was on maternity leave and still a full-time employee at Microsoft. I didn't leave until January of 2012. And so if you've got people that are, if you're listening to this and you have a job and you want to create something on the side, I 100% went through that. And I will say it's really great to get things lined up before you leave. So for me, I stepped out of my job and I stepped right into consulting because that was the easiest thing for me to immediately do. But I always had this idea that I was going to build up my thing once I got into it. It was hard for me to fully envision what my business would look like when I was still an employee and just trying to figure out, like, how am I going to replace my salary? But for me, I would just say, take that mini offer idea, because even if you have a job, like, you can do mini offers while you have a full-time job and just see what sticks with people. Because you'll probably find some that like it's crickets on, and you'll go, great, that wasn't exactly it. Okay, let's try something else. And just keep in mind, like, I need to solve a problem. And, people have something that they really want. So I just need to tie the problem that they currently have to the thing that they want. And my offer, a mini offer or a bigger offer, is just the vehicle that's going to take them from that problem to, not having that problem, whatever that looks like. And if you just start rolling out a few things and offering things, you're going to start to see some traction and get some ideas about what you can offer.
Yeah, and I imagine that as you get into that kind of repeat pattern of making these really quick and simple offers, it becomes easier, right? Because the first time you're like, oh, do I use ClickFunnels or lead pages, or how do I build my list, or how do I figure out what's a good template, or do I use Stripe or PayPal, or how do I even save a PDF, or where do I store it? Like solving a million different things that first time. But then when it's mini offer number 3, mini offer number 4, you're like, I'll just reuse the template from before. I'll just use that old Word document as a starting point for my PDF, already set up on the payment processor. It seems like it gets the mistakes out of the way early. Plus, I love this idea of if people are looking to quit their JOB, they can have that exit strategy and they can use mini offers to kind of get their toe dipped in the water. That way it's kind of a gradual, right? And that way, if they're figuring things out as they go along, there's not a lot of time commitment because it's just a mini offer. And if they have a couple of duds, and we're all going to have some duds, then it's not the end of the world because you still have that 9-to-5 job income. And then once you do come across something that's really going to take off, then it's like that gives you that extra pull away from your job, and you say, now I found that thing I need to do, but I wasn't under the pressure of having to make something work this week.
Right. Yeah. And I'll tell you, and another hidden benefit that we didn't really talk about, especially if you're trying to dip your toe into starting a business or a side hustle, these mini offers can lead to testimonials too. And testimonials, you don't need a ton, but you need a few. And so, you, as you're going through and, having follow up with people, you could have just a quick Google form and have people fill it out in terms of what their testimonial is. And that can launch you as well. I mean, it's just all these little things. But I'll tell you, Robert, back to the mini offer thing. Sometimes I only had a social media post that said what you get. And a PayPal link. Like, it can be really simple. It can be a Outlook email template or a Gmail email template that you email to somebody with a PayPal link or a Stripe link. Like, you do not have to make these complicated. You don't need a website. People just want to know, I have this problem, you have this offer, and I'm going to get X, Y, and Z.
And it's somewhat of a blow to the ego when it's that simple, right? Like, what you're making me think of is maybe 12, 13 years ago, the trend was to have, what was it called? Like a mini site design. And it was to, if you had a website, then you were supposed to have like a pattern back. Like if you're like the marketing funnel course, you had to have like a pattern background with like your logo kind of at an angle with a repeat pattern. And then the header and the footer of your site had to be like custom colors and this custom font. And then everyone used to spend at least $60 to $100 every time they made a website. And I was cranking out some, $27, $37 like video courses or reports. And one time I was just under a time crunch. I was like, I just got to get this out here now. I'll add in the mini site graphics later. Turns out that the course sold just as good, if not better, without all those silly graphics. And I was like, oh, I guess this thing that I was clinging to as a security blanket, which I thought was an absolute must-have, turns out I didn't need it after all. So it was like, it was a little bit uncomfortable, but then after I got through it, it felt good because I was like, all right, one less step, right? Why make it complicated?
Well, and that's the thing. Because Robert, look, when I was in 2011, I thought I had to have the perfect business name. I thought I had to have the perfect website. Like, I spent those 6 months making all this junk that I never even used because it was so wrong once I started getting out there and selling myself. And so I always, with my clients and my students and myself, focus on what's going to generate revenue first. You can always fancy it up and make it pretty later. But you got to know that it sells first before you plunk money into it.
Oh, yeah, 100% guaranteed. And I used to have a friend who would get a really good idea, register the domain name for that idea, get graphics made, print out business cards, and then get distracted by something else. And it was so frustrating to watch because I'm like, you're doing it backwards. You're doing all the nice to haves before all the must haves. So yeah, what I'm hearing from you is take some action. That way you can face reality.
Yes.
The way that you think it's going to play out in your head or the things you think you need ahead of time, that's never how it's going to be. It's better to just take that imperfect action, make the mistakes, get that thing selling, so that way someone can click the button to opt in, click the button to buy, and then you'll know what to do from that point forward. So if people are saying, man, this Michelle person, she sounds really smart. She sounds like she's seen it all. She knows what to focus on, what not to focus on. I want to find out about her website, her courses. Maybe I want to talk to her to talk funnels and mini offers. Where can they track you down? Where can they do that stuff?
Well, the best place is on my DigiHome, which is michellelevans.com. Somebody owns Michelle Evans and they want $8,000 for that. So I put my middle initial in there and it was, $10. So that is the best place to find me. And then if you want to find out, if you have an offer that you want to test a funnel with, I do have a quiz. And the quiz is just a few simple questions that'll help you figure out which funnel is right for you for that offer. And you can take that at michellelevans.com/quiz. And at the end, it'll tell you which funnel. It'll give you a free funnel template, and then I'll take you through some video training. So again, funnels can be simple. You just need to know kind of who you're talking to and what problem you're solving.
Right. A lot of us secretly like to get stuck in the complication of it and say, ooh, I'm so smart because I edited this exact code. And it's like, well, who's that really helping, right? It seems like it would help us all more money-wise if things were kept simple, if we could get it done fast, if we can use that template, if we can take that quiz to know exactly what it is that we need to build. So everyone can and should go to michellelevans.com/quiz so they can take that quiz, so they can figure out, instead of searching around for the answer that you would like, why not get the real answer? Why not answer some quick questions? And then Michelle will say, here's the funnel that you need, and here's the template for that. That way you can just plug into something that's proven and already works. That way you can get rocking and rolling for creating those mini offers. And then you can use that much of a list that you have to gauge what's going to sell and what's not. And you always hear about building a list. Well, now you can send that new traffic to that funnel you created to build more customers, and then walk them up through the low ticket offers from the coaching calls, maybe get them on a webinar, maybe sell them something else, but you have to start somewhere. And the place to start is michellelevans.com. Darn that other Michelle who has that middle initial. Maybe someday you'll get it from her. But for now, michellelevans.com. Go to Michelle Evans and see what Michelle has going on these days. Make sure to subscribe to her marketing funnel show. But number one most important thing, and make this a thing before you leave your computer today, or even before you go eat, before you use the bathroom, make sure to take that quiz, because it might be one of the most important things that you do today, or at least this week. So that way you know where you should be pointed in the right direction, so you can stop spinning your wheels, stop being frustrated, get off the merry-go-round, start building some funnels, some mini offers, start making money. You'll be glad you did. michellelevans.com. And thanks, Michelle, for stopping by and telling us what we need to know about funnels. I really appreciated it.
Thanks so much for having me, Robert.
This is Robert Plank. And would you like to be a guest on the program? Do you have an idea for a future episode, or do you just want to tell us how we're doing? Get in touch with us right now at marketeroftheday.com/ask to let us know.